All right, in this video, we're going to be covering 11.1 worksheet. Okay, first question says to find the first term of the arithmetic sequence using the explicit rule. All right, so here's our equation. A of n is equal to 67 plus 4, parentheses, n minus 1, end of parentheses. We're going to be finding the first 4 terms, so n has to be equal to 1. So I didn't put n equals 1, but we can do that here. N is equal to 1. And then a of 1 is equal to 67 plus 4. N is 1 minus 1. So this comes out to 0, so my answer is just 67. That's number 1. If n is equal to 2, I'm going to have a of 2 is equal to 67 plus 4. N, which is 2 minus 1. Remember this part here, all we're doing is simplifying it. So 2 minus 1 is just going to be 1. So it's going to be 67 plus 4, which is 71. Okay. N is equal to 3. All I'm doing is changing this value to the 3. Okay. And I get 75. Now, once you do it 3 times, you can see a pattern. What we're doing here is adding 4 from the first term to the second term. And then we're adding another 4 from term 2 to term 3. So what we would expect is by adding 4 to term 3, we would get the term 4, which we do. Okay. This is how I did it long ways, and then I just verified that it worked. And then I listed all my answers here. Okay. Number 2, we're going to again find the first 4 terms of the sequence given this equation. So a of n is equal to 5 times 4 n minus 1 power. Okay. All I'm doing here, and here I did list it, n is equal to 1. So a of 1 is equal to 5 times 4 raised to the 1 minus 1 power. Now remember, anything raised to the 0 power is just going to be 1. So it's just like saying 5 times 1, which is equal to 5. Okay. Substitute the 2 here, and I get 5 times 4, which is 20. 3, which makes this a square. So 5 times 16 is going to be equal to 80. Use your calculator if you need to. 4, that makes this a 3 once I subtract the 1, and then I get 320. And there are our first 4 terms. For number 3, it's a little bit different just because we're dealing with a little bit more of the fractions. Let me get a little closer. Okay. All right. So again, list the first 4 terms given the sequence. Here's our sequence. We're going to start with n is equal to 1. Substitute the 1 for the n. This is going to have a 1 up here and then a 1 down here as well. Negative 1. 2 plus 5 is 7. So you're going to get negative 1/7. N is equal to 2. You substitute the 2 wherever you see an n, which is here, here, and here. And then a negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. And then 4 plus 5 is going to be 9. N is equal to 3. Substitute your 3 in those places, here, here, and here. And then let's evaluate. Negative 1 to the third is going to be negative 1. And then 2 times 3 is going to be 6 plus 5 is going to be 11. So you have negative 1 over 11. N is equal to 4. This is going to be a positive 1. And then this will be 8 plus 5, which is 13. And all I did here was list those first 4 terms. Number 4, again, we're finding the first 4 terms of the sequence. We're going to let n is equal to 1. That's already given, which is 4. Then I'm going to say n is equal to 2, and I'm going to substitute a 2 for wherever the n is. So n is here, there's my 2. N is here, there's my 2. Okay. And then remember, this part right here is just saying use the previous term. So a 2 minus 1 is the same thing as a of 1. So I have negative 2 times a of 1 plus 3. A of 1 happens to be 4, which I have here, and then I went ahead and simplified it. Okay, That comes out to negative 5. Okay, I did the exact same thing when it comes to a of 3 and a of 4. Okay, use the previous term. In this case, a of 2 is negative 5 here, so I substituted negative 5, and I got that to be 13. Here, a of 3 was 13. I substituted 13 here. Everything else stayed the same. Simplified, and I got a negative 23. That's my sequence for this one. Number 5, I went ahead and did it this way, but you can use the calculator. If you choose to use the calculator, make sure you have the numerator and the denominator in parentheses. Here I did 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And then 4 factorial is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, all divided by these. And you can notice that I canceled everything out as much as I could. Okay, and that left me with a 8 times 4 times 3, which ended up being a 96. If I want to do this in the calculator, make sure you have parentheses in the numerator and then the denominator. Let me go ahead and do that. 8 PRB factorial, 4 PRB factorial, okay, divided by parentheses 7 factorial, 2 factorial. Press enter, and I get 96. So this does work using the calculator, but remember in your homework assignments, there's going to be some that don't always work. All right, that concludes this worksheet. Let me know if you have any questions.